أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين. فلما سمعت بمكرهن أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكئا وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينا وقالت اخرج عليهن. فلما رأينه أكبرنه وقطعن أيديهن وقلن حاش لله ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم. قالت فذلكن الذي لمتنني فيه ولقد راودته عن نفسه فاستعصم ولئن لم يفعل ما آمره ليسجنن وليكونن من الصاغرين. قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه وإلا تصرف عني كيدهن أصب إليهن وأكن من الجاهلين. فاستجاب له ربه فصرف عنه كيدهن إنه هو السميع العليم. ثم بدا لهم من بعد ما رأوا الآيات ليسجننه حتى حين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وقال نسوة في المدينة, the women in the town said, Imratul Aziz, the wife of the vicegerent, turawidu fataha an nafsihi, has been trying to seduce, to fascinate, an nafsihi, to fascinate him. Qad shaghafaha hubban, she has passionately fallen in love with him. Inna lanaraha fi dhalalim mubin, we verily think her to have been misled quite openly and manifestly. فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ, so when she came to know about their cunning devices, their cunning conversation, أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ, she invited them to a banquet at his home, at her home. وَآتَدَتْ لَهُنَّ مُتَّكَأً, and she provided them with a suitable pillow. وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ سِكِّينًا, and she provided every one of them with an independent knife to cut the fruit. وَقَالَتِ اخْرُجْ عَلَيْهِنَّ, and she requested or suggested to Joseph, may grace and peace of Allah be upon him, to come out in front of them. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ, so when they caught sight of him, they began to appreciate him, and they were so amazed that they cut their hands. They were so amazed to cut their hands. وَقُلْنَ حَاشَ لِلَّهِ, and they simultaneously exclaimed, حَاشَ لِلَّهِ, good God, مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا, this is not a man. In هَذَا إِلَّا مَلَكٌ كَرِيمٌ, this is not but a very noble angel. He is not a common angel, but he belongs to a very special class of the angels. He has got a prominence, eminence in the angelic society. قالت, she said, فَذَلِكُنَّ الَّذِي لُمْتُنَّنِي فِيهِ, this is the same person as you are blaming me for. وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدَتْهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ فَلَقَدْ رَاوَدْتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ, so verily I tried my best to seduce him, but he escaped. وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدْتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ فَاسْتَعْصَمَ, she confessed the crime. She confessed. She said, I tried my best to seduce him, to fascinate him, to persuade him, to tempt him. I persuaded him to commit adultery with me, but he refused. He flatly refused, and he escaped. وَلَئِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ, and now I openly say that if he does not succumb, does not yield to what I say, if he does not succumb to my bidding, if he doesn't bow down in front of my suggestion, if he is not carrying out my order, so like yusjananna, he would surely be imprisoned. وَلَا يَكُونَ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ, and he would be dishonored, humbled, and disgraced. He cannot avoid the disgracement, the humility which is going to be caused to him in the result of my refusal. قَالَ رَبِّ السِّجْنُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا يَدْعُونَنِي. Superficially, it was very awkward on his part to refuse to carry out the carrying out the order of Salicha. But he was a prophet of Allah. He was going to be promoted as a prophet of Allah. Therefore, his chastity, his innocence was necessary to be preserved. Because أجمعت الأمة على أن الأنبياء معصومون من المهد إلى اللحد. This is consensus of the Muslims, competent scholars of the age of every time, that a prophet is chaste, innocent, and infallible from the cradle to the grave. Therefore, it was very necessary for Joseph, may grace and peace of Allah be upon him, to save himself from the commission of this sin. Therefore, he said, Rabbi, O my Lord, As-sijnu ahabbu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilayhi. The imprisonment and jail and confinement is better to me than what they are inviting me to. O my Lord, I prefer the jail, I prefer the imprisonment to what they are inviting me to. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ. O my Lord, if you don't remove their cunning devices, their cunning tricks, their cunning measures from me, asbu ilayhinna, is more likely for me to incline towards them. I may be entrapped, I may be ensnared in their nets. Wa akum min al jahilin, and I be included in the ignorant persons. If you don't remove their cunning devices, their cunning snares, I may incline towards them, and I may be included in the ignorant persons. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ. So his Lord granted his prayer, accepted his prayer. فَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنَّ, and Allah Rabbul Izzat removed their cunning devices, their cunning measures from him. إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. He is of hearing and of knowing. ثُمَّ بَدَا لَهُم مِّن بَعْدِ مَا رَأَوْا. So after they had seen the signs of his infallibility, chastity, innocence, immunity, they came to the conclusion. It occurred to them that they would cast him in the prison, hatta hin, up to a prescribed term. So this is the verbal translation of the passage I recited before you. So this is a connected story with the previous one. In the previous chapter, Quran says that when it became quite clear to them that Zalika was found to have been committing or to have been trying to commit adultery with him, but he escaped. And he was infallible, he was immune, his immunity was proved to them afterwards. Qalat niswatun fil madinati. It was a rumor, it was a general talk, it was a burning topic, it was a burning news in the city that the wife of the vicegerent of the country has been trying to persuade her young slave to herself. So it was very disgraceful for the wife of a vicegerent of the country that she is trying to seduce him, and the servant and the slave is refusing. The refusal by the slave and request by the master is really very contemptible, very disgraceful. Therefore, the women in the city began to talk about this disgrace. Quran says, وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فَالْمَدِينَةِ إِمْرَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تُرَابِطُ فَتَاهَا نَفْسِهِ. So it means that it was a common practice to propagate about the sexual tendencies. Just nowadays, it is seen in the Western civilized countries and in the Eastern westernized countries that there is an independence of sexual tendencies. The sexual tendencies are quite free in most of the countries, but they think that this is modernity of the age. But this is not modernity, but it was found before Dacius, the Kianus. This is the period before Dacius. So it means that this is not modernity, this is a very antiquated matter. Quran says, the women began to propagate very openly that the wife of the vicegerent are at mostly trying to entangle, to ensnare her servant or her slave, but he is refusing. So, قَدْ شَغَفَ حُبَّا, they came to know that she has passionately, heartily fallen in love with him. Means she is loving him, but he is not loving her. إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. And this is the opinion of the woman. Quran is reported here. And the women were reported by the Holy Quran that they began to say that we see her to have been misled quite openly. So it is not appropriate on our part to fall in love with such a person who is a slave and residing at her home. Means she is uh, she is behaving less than her dignity. Quran says, فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ. So when she came to know about their cunning devices, their cunning talk, their conversation, أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ. She invited them to a banquet at her home. And they were invited to a dinner just to show that she was not in the fault, but she was compelled by circumstances to fall in love with him because he was so beautiful person to ensnare everyone he happens to come in front of him. It was not her option, but it was her compulsion. Just to show the excuse, she invited them at the dinner. وَآتَدَتْ لَهُنَّ مُتَّكَآ. According to Islamic law, nowadays one is not allowed to incline against the pillow while having the food. But in old Egypt, it was a common custom that at the time of dinner, the pillows were also served. وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ سِكِّينًا. And she provided every one of them with an independent knife for the fruit or for the food. It means that knife and fork is not a modern thing. It is before the period of Dacius. It was found before Dacius. This is custom which was found before Dacius period. So the modern world should not claim the credit of this modernity because these are not modern. These are olden things. That the fork and knife should be used at the time of food. Usage of fork and knife is not a modern thing. It is an olden thing, and it was found before the period of Dacius. So when she prepared them for the meeting of Joseph ﷺ, in the meanwhile, she went inside and she asked Joseph to come in front of them. So here, Sahib Ruhul Bayan, the author of Ruhul Bayan, he is a Turkish scholar. He commented on the Holy Quran in 30 volumes. He says that it was not suitable for a prophet to come in front of strange young women because it is a great obscenity. It is not suitable or appropriate for the prophet. So what is the justification for Joseph ﷺ to come in front of them? So when she suggested to him to come out, he refused. He said that he was not ready to go in front of strange women because he knew the necessities of innocence and chastity and infallibility and immunity. Therefore he refused flatly that he was not ready to go there. But she said that I shall confess in front of them. Since Joseph ﷺ was going to promulgate, to proclaim that he was a prophet in the years to come, therefore it was necessary for the prophet to achieve the innocence, to achieve the witness about his innocence, chastity, sanctity and immunity. This was the legal excuse for which he was in position to come out in front of the strange woman. Therefore, when she asked him to come out, he came out. Quran says, فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ. When they caught sight of him, they were so amazed as to cut their hands. Here, the author of Ruhul Bayan, Imam Ismail Aqi Afandi, reports that once upon a time, I came to know that the Holy Prophet was reported to have said, the death of a believer is very easy, but we found the death of everyone to be very difficult to pass through. So this was a complication in my understanding. All of a sudden, I slept and I had a dream about Muhammad Mustafa ﷺ. And I, face to face, I was face to face to Muhammad Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam, and I requested about my complication. He said, the answer of your question is found in Surah Joseph, in Surah Yusuf. So the page was opened in front of me. I came to the conclusion, this is the answer to my question, because Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam was reported in Bukhari Sharif, Mar'ani fil maname sayyarani fil yaqzate. Whoever has a dream of me, he will surely see me in the wakeness before the death. One cannot die before my visibility in the case of wakeness. So when a person has a dream of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam, he must be sure that he will see sooner or later Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam in the case of wakeness. Just like Anwar Ali Shah Sahab Nulabi Rahmatullah alayh has reported Imam Jalal Suyuti Rahmatullah alayh to have seen Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam more than 70 times in the 10th century of Islamic calendar. In the case of wakeness, means he saw Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam. Visibility of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam is quite possible for a believer in the case of wakeness. In waking position, he can see after the death of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam, because many persons were reported to have seen Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam in waking position. So this report was submitted by Anwar Ali Shah Sahab Lulabi Rahmatullah alayh in his Fazl Bari Sharah Bukhari in 4 volumes. So Imam Ismail Haqqi Effendi Rahmatullah alayh says that I came to the conclusion that when the woman caught sight of Joseph alayhi salatu wasalam, they could not realize the pain which was going to be imposed on their hands. They began to cut their hands, but they could not perceive it because their eyes were at the face of Joseph alayhi salatu wasalam. They were attracted by the beauty, by the attraction of Joseph, may grace and peace of Allah be upon him, which made them unaware of the torture, unaware of the pain. So when the attraction of Joseph alayhi salatu wasalam can unaware about the pain, about the difficulty, about the torture which is being imposed on the body of one. So when a person sees and has a look on the face of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam, Mar'ani fil maname sayyarani fil yaqzate, most of the scholars have been reported to have said that this type of visibility is commonly found at the time of death. When Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam is seen at the time of death, and the dying person sees the face of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam, he is attracted by the beauty of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam, and death cannot torture him because he is absorbed in love of Muhammad Mustafa alayhi wasallam. Just the ladies were absorbed in the love of Joseph, may grace and peace of Allah be upon him, and they could not perceive the torture and the tease and the pain which was being imposed on their bodies.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
Quran says, فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ وَقَطَّعْنَا أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. When they caught sight of him, they began to appreciate him, and they were so amazed that they cut their hands. وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا. And they exclaimed simultaneously, good God, he is not a man, but he is a noble angel. Means he is angel, but not common angel. Malakun Kareem. He has got speciality in the angelic society as well. Though he is included in the angels, but he looks to be more than common angel. So look the intelligence of Egypt. Though they were misled, but they were very intelligent to appreciate the dignity of the Prophet. Quran says, قَالَتْ فَذَلِكُنَّ الَّذِي لُمْتُنَّنِي فِيهِ. Oh ladies, you are very proud of yourself, and you have been blaming me for this person. This is the same person whom you have been blaming me for. This is the same person. Means I am quite normal. I have fallen in love with him, but I am in my senses. I never cut my hand, but you are cutting your hand. Now you should believe my excuse to be fallen in love with him. So I am in the right to fall in love with him, because you could not avoid the cutting your hands. قال فذلكن الذي لمتنني فيه. She said, this is the same person as you have been blaming me for. وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدتُّهُ عَنْ نَفْسِي فَاسْتَعْصَمَ. So this is a main point to be considered here. Means this confession by Zalicha was an insurance of his immunity, his chastity, his innocence, because this material was going to be utilized at the time of proclamation for the prophethood, when he was going to promulgate, to proclaim that he was a prophet. At that time, this certificate was going to be attached. So when she said, وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدتُّهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ, I tried my best to seduce him, to persuade him, to tempt him, to instigate, to commit adultery with me. But فَاسْتَعْصَمَ, he escaped away. So this is the dignity of the Prophet, that the enemy provide with the evidence of innocence and chastity, just like Muhammad Mustafa was witnessed by the enemy to have been innocent person from very beginning of life up to the time of promulgation. The chastity of Prophet is a first proof about the truthfulness of the Prophet. If a person claims to be a prophet, but his childhood, his youth is very dirty, he cannot proclaim, he cannot assert that he is a prophet, because the chastity of Prophet is the first proof to substantiate the prophethood of a prophet. Here you must check that obscenity, indecency, immodesty, and the sexual tendency and freedom of the sex was quite common practice in the Egyptian society. Otherwise, all of the ladies would not have been in position to say like that this lady is trying to seduce him, and the lady who was involved in the love, she confessed in front of the lady, and they did not reproach her, they did not blame her, they did not scold her that she was in the wrong. But it was in normal practice, they remained normal, because this promulgation that she had fallen in love with him was a common practice, and it was not a culpable action by the society or by the vigilance of the people or by executive, judiciary or legislature. So this is not a miracle of a 20th century, but this miracle was found before Dacius period as well. Quran says, وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدتُّهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ فَاسْتَعْصَمَ. I tried my best to seduce him and to persuade him for the adultery, but he escaped. وَلَئِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ لَيُسْجَنَنَّ وَلَيَكُونَ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. Look the dear, look the courage, that a woman was not ashamed. She did not feel embarrassed of herself. She did not feel embarrassed of herself, but she was daring to say like that, if he does not materialize my suggestion, if he does not carry out my order, if he does not succumb to my bidding, he will have to go to the prison. He would be imprisoned by the civil law, by the criminal law, because according to the prevalent law, I'm independent. I can say like that, and the power ruling the country is under my control. It means that this type of influence was found before Dacius, that a woman sitting inside was sure that her husband will have to bow down in front of him, and she would compel him to put Joseph ﷺ, to cast Joseph ﷺ in the jail, in the imprisonment. Therefore, she says very confidently that he will have to go in the jail. She was not a judge. She was not a chief justice. She was not exercising the power of a judge. Judiciary was not under the control of that lady, but she was sure that her husband will have to carry out her order. But Quran says, وَلَا يَكُونَ مِنَ السَّاغِرِينَ. And in addition to be put or to be cast in the jail, he will have to be dishonored. He will have to be disgraced, to be humbled. But the servants of Allah never fear anybody else.
Subhanallah.
They are always afraid of Allah.
Subhanallah.
They think that we should not annoy our God. We should not annoy our Allah. And everybody in the world may be pleased with us or may be annoyed with us. Quran says, قَالَ رَبِّ السِّجْنُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا يَدْعُونَنِي إِلَيْهِ. Oh my Lord, I would like to go in the jail, but I am not ready to bow down in front of them, because bowing down, obedience of them, bow down before them is a reason of your annoyance, and I never dare to annoy you. I will face every type of difficulties, adversities and calamities, but I am not ready to annoy you.
Subhanallah.
So this is the proper way followed by the sincere servants of Allah. Quran says, قَدْ أَفْلَغَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. He who avoids all of the sins is a successful person, and he would be successful. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. And he mentions the name of God, he mentions Allah, and he offers a prayer. So here Quran says, on one side there was luxury, and there was every type of facility, every type of enjoyment, lust, sex, facilities, kingdom and residential facilities, eating facilities, drinking facilities, facilities of life. And on the other side was pleasure of Allah along with the jail, along with the imprisonment. But here, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. The person who was a sincere person to Allah, he preferred the difficulties, the adversities, the vicissitudes, the difficulties, the worries, but he did not dare to annoy Allah Rabbul Izzat. So Allah Rabbul Izzat has promised to make those persons successful who are purifying themselves, who are avoiding the sins. So Allah Rabbul Izzat promised Joseph alayhi salatu wasalam by an inaudible language that, oh Joseph, if you are going to the jail just for my pleasure, if you don't go to the throne and crown of Egypt, you will not believe me to be your Lord. I am your Lord. Whenever you come out from the jail, you will directly go to the throne and crown of Egypt. So this promise was fulfilled at the time of acquittal of Joseph. May grace and peace of Allah be upon him. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ. Oh my Lord, though I am trying to avoid the committing of crime, committing of sin, but this is by virtue of your kindness, your grace. I am nothing at all. I am your slave. I cannot avoid. I cannot purify myself. All of the things have been done because of your kindliness. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ. Look, the humility and submissiveness of the Prophet, that he is not proud of his own character, but he is proud of the kindliness of Allah. He shows humility and submissiveness in front of Allah Rabbul Izzat. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ. Oh my Lord, if you don't remove their cunning devices from me, I may incline towards them, and I may be included in the ignorant people. Means I am a prophet, I am a chaste, I am an immune, but it is under the supervision of your Lord, under the supervision of your kindliness. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ فَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنَّ. And Allah Rabbul Izzat granted his prayer. So the prayer was very humble and very submissive. Therefore it was granted. So this is the proper way to invoke Allah Rabbul Izzat at the time of difficulties. One should invoke Allah Rabbul Izzat with submissiveness, humility, and by means of his poverty. Innahu huwa Samiul Alim. Allah says, Allah Rabbul Izzat of hearing and of knowing, means nothing is inaudible to him. He can hear everything at every time, and he knows everything, and he knows how to deal with the situation. He can tackle the situation, he can cater with the situation, and he can solve the problems. Summa badalahum min ba'di ma ra'ul ayat la yasjununnahu hatta hin. Summa badalahum. Then it occurred to him that they will have to put him in the jail. But when it occurred to them, after they had seen the signs of his immunity, his chastity, his sanctity, his purity, when he was proved to be chaste, to be pure, to be sanctified person, to be infallible person, means when his innocence was proved to them, it was not appropriate on their part to put him in the jail. But such a decision, which are going to be achieved nowadays in different countries, the decisions with the same pattern were achieved before Dacius. Means it is not new thing. It is a quite old thing that chaste persons are put in the jail, they are imprisoned, and the persons committing the crime are moving here and there freely, and they are enjoying the dignity, and they are enjoying the power. Quran says, Summa badalahum min ba'di ma ra'ul ayat. But they did not rationalize their action with the name of democracy or any decency or any other excuse. They were very dishonest persons, but they were very honest about their dishonesty. They were not believing the community that they were in the right, but they told them that it was their fault that they were going to put a person who in the jail who was completely innocent person. It means at least they were very, very sincere about their dishonesty, and they were not trying to conceal their weakness and their dishonesty. They were very honest about their dishonesty. So the Muslims should be very honest about their cases, about their judiciary, about their executive, about their legislation, about their daily life. So this is the end of my lecture today on this passage I recited before you. In the last I shall pray for all of the Muslims. The Muslims, may Muslim assemble under the flag of unity and love and affection of the Holy Prophet, and may they progress by leaps and bounds. Ameen. Summa Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah. Akhir dawana alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Bi rahmatika ya Rahman Rahim.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.